welcome to another Bayloric Worldwide Television sports feature. In this video I'm going to talk about the return of the heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury. We should be saying the return of the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. But we do know he got stripped of the IBF title. We know Tyson got stripped of all the other belts because of the drug abuse, or that was what was reported, and so therefore Tyson now only has the Ring Magazine belt, which I did say last year December that Tyson should have vacated all the belts and kept the Ring Magazine belt and set a precedent to be the first heavyweight champion of the world to give all the world titles back and to just keep the Ring Magazine to prove that he is numero uno. It so happens that he has the Ring Magazine title now, but you know, it's good to hear that Tyson's coming back. But I do have concerns of Tyson's comeback because there are a lot of hurdles I think he has to overcome. First of all, the first hurdle is only he and his family and those closest to him would know what conspired during the time of the cancellation of the second Klitschko fight, the reported drug abuse, whether that's true or not, whether there were any other deeper issues that this drug abuse may have just covered over. Those are matters that only Team Fury would know about and those closest to Tyson would know about. So regardless of what it is, the issue needs to have been resolved before Tyson gets back in the ring, and you'd think that that would be the case, but I'm just going through certain things in my mind that I would like to see ticked off in terms of for him to on his comeback. So okay, he gets back into camp. There's a point about this getting back into camp and training. Now, judging by Peter Fury and the interviews I've done with him for a number of years, he's a guy that doesn't mess about. He is a man that's quite a straight talker, and I wonder if Tyson wasn't his nephew, would Peter have kicked him out the gym already? Would Peter have given up training him? I just wonder that, but because Peter's a man of his word and it's his family, obviously blood is thicker than water. You're dedicated to your nephew, but how much his patience was tested during that period of time where Tyson was out of the ring. Of course, Peter was able to change his attention to his son Huey, but again with Huey, the illness, and now Huey seems to be back to health and all systems go. In 2017, so there's talk about him either fighting Wilder or fighting Joseph Parker. So okay, fair enough. But again, I go back to this point. A lot of people say, "Oh, Tyson's a young heavyweight. He's not been in any wars or anything like that." That's not a concern. Tyson being in wars isn't a concern for me. What's a concern for me is how he treats his body outside of the ring. You know, blowing up to X amount of pounds, you know, even as a heavyweight, and then getting yourself back into shape to get in the ring again. A lack of discipline outside the ring. Yeah, I understand you letting your body go, but to the point where, you know, it always shows a lack of discipline outside the ring. Tyson has got himself into shape, and people can say that he hasn't come into shape. The fight he had against Joey, I can't remember the guy's name again was. But anyway, he came back and he was overweight coming into the fight. So what sort of Tyson Fury are we going to have on this comeback? Talk is great, and you know that Tyson has the ability, but how much of the outside of activities or what he's doing outside of the ring are going to affect him getting back in the ring? Who knows? That the Klitschko night, that night, could potentially be his best performance ever. We just don't know. A great performance from him that night against Klitschko. Nullified Klitschko. Did what he had to do, and at times put his hands behind his back and made a mockery out of Klitschko. A fine boxing performance on that night. Can he do it again? Well, we don't know, because the second fight didn't happen. So we can assume, oh yeah, Tyson would have beaten him. He would have knocked him out. But we don't know. We will just have to wait to see, and that's what we all wanted to see. The fight got cancelled for, Klitschko injured, Fury had issues. So, okay, so I'm just going through these points in my mind. I should have written them down. So, like I said, back to that Klitschko performance. That may have been his best performance of his career. He might not be able to rise to those heights again. Because, remember, Klitschko was a guy that nobody thought he could beat. Or a lot of people thought he couldn't beat. Okay, a lot of people expected, oh, Klitschko spark him in 2, Klitschko spark him in 3. He went to Germany and got the result. That's a high, that's a great high. And he was chasing Klitschko for a long time. He's beat Klitschko. So, was motivation a problem going back in the ring to fight Klitschko again? No way you could say no, or you beat Derek Chisora once, and then you beat him again. So maybe that's not an issue. But again, you're just ticking these boxes off in your mind. So if it's not motivation, it's an issue to fight Klitschko again, then, contractually there may be issues that he was forced to have to fight Klitschko again. And maybe, I don't know, contractually he didn't want to be a part of that, and what's happened now has got him out of a contract having to fight Klitschko because he no longer is the champion. I don't know. Again, this is off the top of my head, and these are my personal thoughts. So, okay, the comeback. So, when he vacated the belts, was there any contract in place that would say, well, you know what, I'm vacating my belts, I have special, special rights or a shot at one of the world titles immediately as soon as I vacate my belts? Was he in a position with any of the governing bodies? Well, if it was the IBF, you can forget it. The WBC seemed pretty cozy with Mr. Wilder, with his consistent voluntary defences. And the whole situation there now with Povetkin and Stavern and drug allegations and energy drinks and all the rest of it, that's the WBC tied up. And Wilder's got his next fight against the Polish guy. Then you've got the WBO situation with now Joseph Parker, who David Hayes meant to be the number one contender, but there's rumours that Hughie Fury might fight Joseph Parker next. And then there's Wilder talking about Parker and unification bout. Alright, fine. So then we've got the IBF championship, which is tied up with Anthony Joshua. I can't really see Klitschko just accepting a fight like that. I'm sure he's going to ask for a warm-up fight, or he'll pull out with an injury. Klitschko always pulls out with injuries for the first time round. Pull out with an injury, ask for a warm-up fight, sign up some contract that's going to keep Joshua waiting. So if the Klitschko-Joshua fight happens this year, I'll be surprised. Because I just can't see Klitschko just, after all that time out the ring, he's just going to come back and fight Joshua. I can't see it. But if they do it, then it's a major coup for Joshua. And yeah, a very, very, very strange move by Klitschko. So we've got the WBA situation. Shannon Briggs is meant to be fighting Fraser Quindle for the regular title. The super title is vacant, but it's going to be on the line for when Joshua fights Klitschko. So you've got the belt that Tyson's got now, the Ring Magazine belt, which is great. So where does Tyson go from here? He's going to want a warm-up fight. I would only assume he'd want a warm-up fight. You wouldn't want to come out of not fighting for what he didn't fight since he beat Klitschko was in December 2015. So we're into 2017. He would have thought Well, look, he hasn't fought for a year and a bit, so he'll need a warm-up fight. And what's his motivation now? To be undisputed champion? Win all the belts again? Is that motivation for Tyson? Or is it to get the green belt, which means he would have won all the belts? What's Tyson's motivation? Being out of the ring for over a year, and although you've got itchy feet, there's a lot of times Tyson's mentioned he doesn't like being with them, talking to the media. He wants something. He wants to fight. Then he doesn't feel like fighting. And then Tyson's a law unto his own self, and when somebody's a law unto their own self, you never know what to expect from him. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes being a mixed bag is you never know what's going to happen and who's going to turn up. And you know, that was a great performance, and leading up to the Klitschko fight, Tyson was putting in good performances. You could see the improvements he made since Peter came on board. But now, is this Tyson Fury Mark II, after all this scandal and all the rest of it, him getting back in the ring and trying to fight for the world titles, is he going to get a red carpet rolled out for him? As I said before in previous videos, Tyson Fury doesn't do the business market of Anthony Joshua any favours. Tyson Fury being out of the picture and Joshua being the heavyweight champion of the world and in the UK does good business. You know, I think for now, and let him build his momentum without being in the shadow of Tyson. And because Tyson's not got no belts now, apart from the Ring magazine, that kind of works well. So, because there'd be Tyson, had he been champion and he'd beaten Klitschko, I have no doubts in my mind he would have chased the Joshua fight or the Wilder fight. You know, so I believe he would have taken those fights. Now, as I said, I don't think the red carpet's going to be rolled out for him. Listen, the red carpet wasn't rolled out for Lennox Lewis when he got knocked out by Hasim Rahman, okay? Or when he got knocked out by Oliver McCall. It wasn't rolled out. He had to go to court to get himself in positions to win world titles. Is the boxing world going to be unforgiving to Tyson Fury? Are they going to make it difficult for Tyson to get a version of the heavyweight title or get a world title shot? Yes, I know that he's considered the man, and what he did against Klitschko was great, and he should get an automatic shot at the world title. But it might not work that way, you know. He comes back in, let's say, April. As long as his body doesn't break down, he doesn't have any injuries, he comes back. He has his warm-up fight. Let's say, he wants to come back in April, so he's in the gym now. He fights in April. I don't know if Peter going to want him to fight one or two warm-up fights. Is he going to take who's the opponent going to be as a warm-up fight? How does he get on with that warm-up fight? Does he get injured in the warm-up fight? All these things have to be. How does he look in the warm-up fight? You know, so, and while he's been out of the ring, Tyson, the motivation, what is it? What is his reasons for coming back? Glory? Money? I mean, the time out of the ring, not having to deal with the press, and how's that been? And the whole situation with the scandal with the drugs, that all went quite quiet. Is that going to get pulled up on Tyson again? I have real concerns, because when I said it last year about the IBF, I could see the belt's going to get stripped of Tyson. They got stripped of Tyson. Now Tyson making this comeback in 2017, I have concerns that all sorts of skullduggery could still happen. Him coming back, him being accused of using PEDs, because that's there. The seeds are only been put out there, you understand? So it's just about watering a bit more. So when he comes and make his comeback fight, one of the tests came back positive, so Tyson's a drug cheat. You see, and then you're in court fighting that. So these are the things that can happen. Once you've been, the seeds have been thrown out that you could be a possible drug cheat, even if you're innocent. And this is the thing I spoke about, I've been fighting about for ages, about the drug allegations being thrown at fighters when it could be used as a political move rather than actually catching somebody who's genuinely a cheat. You see? So those things like that are a concern. The way the IBF were able just to strip Tyson because he was trying to make a mandatory defence against the #1 contender. You listen to that rubbish. So he was going to get stripped. This was in December. He was going to get stripped in last year December. Was going to get stripped just after winning the title of Klitschko. But if Klitschko had kept the title, if Klitschko had beaten Fury, that wouldn't have happened. So I still find it, although Tyson did a good job against Klitschko, I still find it amazing that they allowed Tyson to walk out of Germany with the belts. I really do. So it's a long road back for Tyson. It really is. And I just hope that lessons have been learnt. I hope that 2017 would have allowed Tyson the time to sit back and think about, the way forward. I think I know the road ahead is going to have no favours. He didn't have any favours then. He certainly is going to have no favours now. But I wish him him and his team all the best for it. But I do have concerns. I personally would like to see Tyson fighting 2 to 3 times a year. I guess in an ideal world, I'd like to see Tyson staying in shape and not ballooning up to 300 pounds or whatever he does. I'd like to see consistency with him. 3-4 fights in a year. Same with Hughie Fury is different. Hughie Fury just needs to fight. Whereas, so it'd be interesting. How's the route of Hughie Fury going to be plotted with Tyson Fury now coming back? It was different when Tyson had the belts as well. So it's going to be very interesting. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. I just hope that Tyson, each and every time he gets in the ring, that he's motivated. Was the fight against Klitschko he had, was that his best performance? Or is there still more to come? On the face of it, from the skill set he's got, you'd think he'd be, skill-wise, a far more complete fighter than Deontay Wilder or an Anthony Joshua. But skills don't always pay the bills. Things like motivation, hunger, concentration. You can be very skilled, but you lose concentration, you're not motivated. How much of the stuff outside, how well has Tyson been looking after his body? That's another concern for me. So you could be a young fighter, but you age quickly because of how you've been treating your body outside the ring. I don't know. I don't know that much about Tyson. So those are my thoughts about the comeback of Tyson. I hope he does come back. The heavyweight division does need him. And I hope lessons are learned. I hope the timeout has given the opportunity to think and make critical decisions and puts his best foot forward to regain the heavyweight championship of the world. He's going to be in some great fights and I look forward to seeing them. Let me know what you think about this all. Do you think it's going to be easy for Tyson to make his comeback? Do you think he's going to get an easy shot at the world title? Who do you think is going to be the most likely champion he'll fight first? Anyway, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave your comments. This is Baylor Worldwide Television, and this has been a sports feature. And I'm out. Take care.